cherished viewers, lovers of aviation, aviation enthusiasts, welcome to today's video, which is Career Progression 040, coming from the studios of Aviation Maestro Multimedia. In our previous lessons, we were still appreciating the pilot career progression. It's a lot of hurdles, but very exciting. Are you okay? Building experience to fly people as a captain from A to B, it doesn't come easy. It's not something like just school training and you are in the left seat. No, there are a lot of hurdles, all because we really want to justify your experience before an aircraft is entrusted into your care. And we also want to see how you deal with people, because skill-wise, you could be, in our terminology, we call it the ace of base, or one aviator in aviation history called Chuck Yeager. You could be a Chuck Yeager, but you may have issues with your personality, and that is where, when you are upgrading from a senior first officer to captain, these things just pop up, unpleasant surprises. Okay, so wrap up, like we said, we've wrapped up a lot, right, from the day you got your student pilot license, and we've gone through all the way through flying school, commercial pilot instrument rating, multi-engine, and we've gone through that point, the master pilot program. After master pilot program, the type rating, then you became a first officer. We looked at line check, we looked at line training before line check, then your progressions, second officer to first officer to senior first officer, and to captain. Okay, so before we continue with the day's objectives, don't forget to tell a friend, to tell another friend, to tell another friend that Captain Amwa is here with another banger, and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. So, like we said, we've gone through all these progressions. Today, we're going to look at how to appreciate the most golden hurdle. Did I ever talk about golden hurdle in the previous lessons? If not, I'll tell you now. Understand the responsibilities of the golden seat. Wow. So do we have something called the golden seat? Let's see it later. Then learn how to reach the apex, because technically the apex of this whole career is the golden seat. So now, what is the golden seat? What are we talking about? The ATPL, like I told you, in some companies or in some pilot circles, is being referred to as the asset test, because this is where now you're supposed to wear 3 stripes. But the sad story, in fact, I don't want to say sad, but the sad reality, if I say it that way, I think I'll let you understand what is painful and what is real. What is very painful is that throughout aviation history, we've had airlines in certain parts of the globe where people have just progressed only to a first officer and never went anywhere beyond first officer. So the ATPL, as normally is referred to people as the asset test. Are you ready to move on? Because at the first officer stage, if we have a problem with your skills, if you have a problem with your studies, if you have a problem with personality, it's very difficult for a board to sit down and put all this stuff together and say, oh, don't worry, let's give him the command. So let him go and write his ATPL. Very difficult. I mean, that's a sad reality. So some people have not progressed. Some people have also been given the opportunity but have not been able to pass the ATPL. The ATPL is, if I said, tough information or more additional information to your PPL and CPL stuff you learned in the ground school, plus the aircraft you are studying. Some people have not been able to make the grade, both either in the classroom bit of it or in the flight simulator part of it. So sadly, some people have just stuck themselves in the right seat with 2 bars, that's the first officer position, till they were 60 or 65 and they just had to say goodbye to a career. Some got frustrated, of course, and within maybe 2-3 years after not sailing through the ATPL, they just had to bid their career goodbye themselves. It's happened, or it's happening, or it's continuing to happen in various parts of the world. So the ATPL is what we call the asset test. Once you are through with the ATPL, then like I said, with the selection for the command, a board sits down again and says, okay, you know what? He has his ATPL, he's now a senior first officer. We've observed him under so many conditions, operational, technical, HR-wise. I think he's good to go. Then you go through what you call the command course. Command course is just a brief management course where you get to learn a lot about leadership, a lot about time management, a lot about managing people, and attention to detail and all these things. These are the qualities of a pilot. But when you get to the captainship, it must be very distinct. Okay, that's the command upgrade. If your company recommends you for command, like I said, you go for the upgrade. The upgrade is just the command course, which is more of a management course. before you kind of, it's almost like doing the type rating all over again, but this time in the left seat. Because here again, you've been in the right seat all the while, how to fly in the left seat now, deal with emergencies, and now be the sole manager of affairs. Are you okay? Remember, when you're a co-pilot, there was a captain to look up to, you know, you look to the left, there's always somebody there, you think, okay, you know, if anything at all, he's there. Are you okay? But this time, you sit in the left, you have an issue, try looking to your left, and like one captain told me, everything you see is the window. Are you okay? So what he's just trying to say that now, you are in charge of matters. So it's not only skill flying alone, it's not only knowledge alone, they are all good, but now how to manage situations, because as a captain, how to deal with responsibilities, and these are some innate talents that you have to build right from scratch. That's why we also have programs like the Aero Summer School and everything. Are you okay? Because those things have to be inbuilt. It's not like you go and sit in a school and learn it just fresh one day, and the next thing you see, you have it to manage. No, it's an innate thing and built with a lot of experience on how to manage so many things before you sit in the left seat. So in the left seat, after you've gone through your command course, that's the management training and everything, you are now going to almost do the type rating that you did when you were a co-pilot, but this time in the left seat. It will be cut short. With your experience, you don't need all the 8 sessions before the 9th and the 10th. You don't need it. You about 5 is okay for them to say, okay, fine, you are handling the aircraft, okay, you are dealing with this, okay. Then you check out in the simulator, then you come online. When you come online, it's the same old thing, but the only thing is that you may not go to 40 flights. Maybe for you as a captain, 22 is okay. By 20, you are comfortable dealing with things. When you are released as a captain, just like how you were in the right seat, when you are released, if you are doing the line check training, same thing. There's always a safety pilot for your first maybe couple of flights, to the one who is training you, who is now sitting in the right, is comfortable and say, okay, you know what, I can go with him alone. The safety pilot needs to be released. Same thing. But now what happens is that with the captain, your line training becomes more intense, because here we are not only looking at flying. We know you know how to fly, you have that experience. Now we have to deal with other emergencies. For example, pilot incapacitation is one of the things as a captain you have to do. So the training pilot will pretend like he's dead, and now you are doing both the flying duties, both the non-flying duties at once. Because now that your experience is up to a certain notch, what you have to do is that we have to now throw in the challenges. The more the experience, the more the challenge. Just like anything in life, the more the experiences, the more the responsibilities, the more the challenges. So your line training will be more of that kind. After the safety pilot has been released, what you'll be doing with your training captains are dealing with simulated emergencies. Are you okay? And a lot of questions. He's going to ask you so much questions concerning the aircraft itself, the systems and everything, and even certain areas of abnormals where you don't need to memorize the sequence. They expect you as a captain to memorize it. They may fail the autopilot once in a while for you to see how your hand flying is still there. So I mean, with the captain, they load you with a lot of detail, lot of challenges, because it's assumed that your experience when it comes to handling is top notch. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sitting the left. So the question is now, let us now throw him or her all the abnormalities. You understand? So with that session, when the safety pilot has been released after your first few flights, what you do with your captain is more to do with simulated emergencies, and pilot incapacitation is one. So many flights you'll be doing it on your own. Right from takeoff, the guy pretends like he's dead. Remember, the training captain now sitting the right is now pretending like a brand new first officer who doesn't really know what's happening around the world. You understand? So most of the things that he'll do is he pretends to be overwhelmed with some things, and he pretends to pass out. Now you are the guy in the left. You have to handle the aircraft with the way it's supposed to be handled, and also do with checklists, talk to ATC, that's air traffic control and everything. So basically that's how the command training will look like. Then the check ride is simple. After, like I said, here through the line training, after a certain point in time, this trainer in the right seat will change to bring another captain with extra experience as a trainer to go with you with your last part of the flights. Let's say if it's like 20 flights. After the first 10 flights, this training captain who started with you will leave and get another training captain to be there. And you still continue building on their syllabus for all of them. So you still continue on so many things, dealing with the emergencies, simulated abnormals, etc., etc. And when he's comfortable with you, he has to now recommend you. And remember, that's for this time in our industry, we say, when are you going to be let loose? Because now we are leaving you, the commander, to fly with an experienced co-pilot. I mean, you start off with an experienced co-pilot, but still, you are still the one in charge, taking decisions. You have no one to look up to take decisions. And trust me, every captain, or like myself and everybody, we've been so nervous because the first time you are now taking responsibilities. Trust me, you will sign almost about 10 signatures or 20 signatures before a flight, and each of them has its legal implication. Don't just put a paper, your pen on paper and be signing signatures, but so much responsibilities. The decision to board whether or not to board, to delay or not to delay a flight, when to start the engines, when to do this, and you are also bound with time. You are supposed to leave the tarmac at a certain time, leave it at this time, get airborne. When you are airborne, or you are managing so many things, and the responsibilities can even make you nervous, even the most experienced. Are you okay? So after you've gone through that phase, what happens is that the check ride is going to be you in the left seat, trainer as a captain, a very experienced co-pilot in the right seat, and another check, a check captain, or another examiner in the jump seat. Here too, he's behaving like a passenger. He's not there to teach. He's not there to inspire or anything. He's just watching how you deal with your experience. So you realize that now you rely on your experienced co-pilot in your initial stages for backup, till you get used to get your hands on the machine. So that's the kind of progression through your commander. And we call that one the golden seat, because this is the seat where now you are taking decisions. You are, so much is required of you, so much responsibility. Anything happens to the flight, you are the first person who is queried. Are you okay? You have to brief your flight crew before the flight, and we'll take you through those things. We'll brief you through the flight crew, and everything is everything is now on you. Questions are going to be asked. Your flight attendants, when you report to work, you are the one supposed to brief them, tell them what to do in an emergency. I will do this, you will do that. It's a whole thing all together, and everything. The captain. Everybody's just looking there. That's why that seat is more like the golden seat. Golden seat, all right, but you know the English saying, and easy lies the head that wears the crown. Your stress levels are way over the roof, but you still have to deal with situations. And more especially when you are in adverse weather. You fly to adverse weather like this, sometimes you have become so experienced that even the stronger co-pilot has been released, and there's a certain time where now you, the captain, you can fly with anyone. You can fly with anyone after your maybe 100 hours. You can, as a captain on that aircraft, you can even fly with, co-pilots who have just come out of flying school. And trust me, I don't know whether by accident or by design, anytime you get into any of these adverse conditions, whether that's thunderstorms or somewhere around thunderstorms that you have to deal, that you need backup, that is the very day you'll be flying with someone who has just graduated from flying school. You understand? And these are all part of the tricks and trade, okay? So I'll soon progress you to, if the company needs what we call instructors, how do you now progress from captainship to instructors? And I'll tell you other things about the profession. We've gone through a whole, I'm sure by now we've scaled about 25 hurdles. Are you okay? Right from the day you got your student pilot license, that's your aviation medical certificate. Are you okay? So like we said, the captain, we said, is a golden seat. It's a very good opportunity. Trust me, and it's also a good feeling. It does a lot to your morale that you can take responsibility. It makes you feel good because there's so much complex processes and operations to get the aircraft from A to B and back on schedule. So after a flight, one of our intrinsic or internal motivations is that we did everything and we came back within the stipulated time. That alone is a very, very good feeling and a very good morale booster, because the moment there's a delay, first query is the captain. He's the first one. Nobody's going to, even though maybe on that day it was obvious that catering didn't come early, or it was very obvious that maybe fueling did not come early, etc. First query is the captain. So getting a flight from A to B and back within time, everything, operating the aircraft the way it's supposed to be operated, because you also be judged on the way you fly the aircraft. Today we have modern software that probes and can track, and record every parameter of the flight, and whether you exceeded a certain parameter or not. Today, we don't need to ask questions. Today, we don't need to bring what you call situation reports from the flight with regards to how you flew it and how it was supposed to be flown. Today, all you do is just somebody sitting in his office and he's just having what we call a quick access recorder. There's a certain device in the aircraft that transmits all those information to somebody's laptop, and he can just see what you are doing. Did you exceed? Did you not exceed? Why did you exceed? Etc. And we also have queries for that. Are you okay? So with the captain, there's so much to manage. Right from the time you sign in to work, you have to brief dispatch. Dispatchers have to brief you. You have to peruse all documents to make sure that everything is safe for the flight before you append signatures. From there, you meet with your cabin crew and your co-pilot. You do what you call a flight briefing for the day. Okay? From there, you proceed to the aircraft. And once you get on the aircraft, everybody has his, checks and procedures to accomplish. Are you okay? We walk around the aircraft, and there's also a pattern of how you walk around the aircraft and inspect and find that everything that the engineers and technicians have prepared for you is okay. And you come back into the cockpit and do what you call a checklist system with your co-pilot, your what you call a flight preparation checklist. And it is then and only then, when things are okay, that you can now call for boarding, because everybody's waiting. And remember, it's all to be done within a stipulated time, not when you feel like. It's when it is within a stipulated time. So once you must be on the aircraft 40 minutes to departure, or in some companies 1 hour to departure. Boarding must be called X amount of times to departure. There are some ground crew who are also there monitoring things. Are you okay? So once the aircraft delays and someone is sitting in the office, he can see all these things. He will all do is send you the query. Send the captain a query. Are you okay? So it's a golden seat, all right. But I call it the seat with sweet experiences. Are you okay? Or sweet, challenging experiences, because after you've been able to accomplish all these things successfully, trust me, you feel good that this day we went in and out. So it has nothing even to do with your salary at the moment. It's a lot got to do with, did you accomplish the flight successfully? Successfully in that you flew according to the parameters. Number 2, did you go on time? Number 3, how did you manage your crew? How did you lead your crew? Everybody is looking up to you. Everything is the captain. If you have a problem with air traffic control because he gave you an instruction and you didn't comply, it's just simple. When ATC writes it in the report, the civil aviation says, what's the registration of the aircraft? Once they know the registration of that particular aircraft, they know who the captain is. They are coming for you. So it's stuff like this, a sweet seat, a golden seat of sweet experience. And that's, like we say, the captain's, an overview of or snapshot of the captain's responsibility. When the company needs instructors, there's captains who have more experiences, like more flying time on the particular aircraft. It depends on if the company needs. If the company needs instructors, you could be recommended, to be an instructor, looking at your track record and whether you have the ability to impart knowledge is also another thing, because you can be skillful, you don't have the ability to impart knowledge and everything. Then you'll be taking on what you call a type rating instructors course. Are you okay? Where we teach you so many things. Just like if I say educational psychology in 5 days, where we teach you a lot of things about planning your lessons, presenting your lessons, dealing with the learner, etc., etc. Everything that you know of in educational psychology. So you become what you call a type rater. You are just a captain who has more experience to train either captains. That means if you are training a new captain, you are now in the right seat, or to train a new first officer. That means you are in the left seat. We call it the type rating instructor course. Then with time, you build on what you call the type rating examiner. Examiner simply means, apart from training, you can give check ride. It's not all TRIs who can give check ride. That TRI has to have another extra training in examining before he or she can be giving flight checks, sitting in the jump seat, giving checks, or going to the simulator to operate the simulator. One of the videos has a normal simulator session with 2 crew with the simulator instructor or examiner at his panel. Okay, so basically I'm walking you through this career progression. So it starts right from the day you get your student pilot license to captainship. Technically, in the apex of the whole career is the captainship. The instructor is extra bonus. Those things are bonuses. If they recommend you and you like it, fine. But the real apex of the whole career is to be a captain or to be a line captain. Are you okay? Some people are very comfortable and just want to be at captains, and that is it. It all depends on what the company needs, your sequence in the queue. Well, obviously, when the company needs a bunch of people, they will start with the queue system till the other gets to your turn, depending on which position you are in the queue. Are you okay? So basically, that's what it is, and your apex is just the captainship. The rest are bonuses. With time, you could be given managemental roles, that is flying a bit or very less in the cockpit and working more in the office. You could be a safety officer, a safety manager. You could either be the chief pilot. The chief pilot also comes with this criteria, or a director of flight operations, or a deputy chief pilot, or a fleet manager. When the aircraft has more than one fleet, when I say more than one fleet, that means they have an Airbus, They also operate a Boeing 737-800. They also operate a Q400 somewhere. When they have more than one fleet, each fleet has to have what they call a manager. And the fleet manager has to be a TRI, a captain with an instructor rating, and it's a bit of management courses. All these people I've mentioned, management, the trainers and everything, have desks in the company's head office where they fly a little bit, then they go to their desk to do paperwork. So basically, that's exciting career progression. And we have some question and answer video coming up to expand or expatiate on what I've just said. So, have we met the objectives for the day? Let's see. Appreciate the most golden hurdle in the career. Like I told you, that's the captainship, a golden hurdle. 2, understand the responsibilities of the golden seat, like I told you. The one in the left seat, he or she has a ton of responsibilities, even for one flight. So much responsibility, paperwork, signatures, procedures, briefings, stuff like that. So much responsibilities, and we learned how to be there. So we've learned all along on how to work your way from the time you got your student pilot license all the way through flying school. Then you come as a first officer through your indoctrination program, interviews, etc. Master pilot program, we've gone through from second officer to first to senior first officer, and all the way to captain. Remember, all this time somebody is watching you. And it's only at the ATPL time, when you are supposed to go and do your ATPL, that it will be decided that, well, do we really want you, stuff like that. So just remember, your composure and everything is very, very, very essential. So we've come to the end of this video. I've really enjoyed you so much, and I like to impart knowledge, to inspire, educate, and entertain as we're still learning this pilot career progression. I'll sum it all up with some Q&As, and also we'll build a lot of glossaries. I think we have to still build our vocabularies. Thank you so much from the studios of Aviation Maestro Multimedia, and we'll catch you again in other videos.